Chapter 1. The Law of Thinking. Why Thinking Matters More Than You Realize. Let me start by asking, have you ever noticed how the same circumstance can elicit completely different reactions in different people? One faces a setback and feels defeated. Another sees the same challenge and lights up with possibility. Here's the big question: what separates those two individuals? The easy answer is attitude. But dig deeper, and you'll discover an even more fundamental cause: how they choose to think in that moment. Remember this: your thoughts are the creative force of your life. Whatever you're thinking about habitually, you're inviting in, like a radio antenna, constantly broadcasting your inner blueprint to the world around you. If that blueprint is cluttered with worry or self-doubt, guess what life mirrors back to you? More reasons to worry, more experiences that validate doubt. Becoming aware of invisible thoughts. Now, you might be wondering, how do I even know what I'm thinking all day? My mind goes a million miles an hour. Here's the first step. You become a bit of a thought detective. Pay attention to your internal dialogue. Maybe keep a small journal or use the Notes app on your phone. Pause and write down the key ideas or feelings dominating your mind every couple of hours. Are you fretting over last week's mistake? Are you excited about an upcoming project? This little exercise shows patterns. You'll see if your mind is more frequently locked on negativity or possibility. You might be shocked by how many repetitive thoughts cross your mind. Some are real downers. Don't judge yourself for them. Just notice. The simple act of noticing is the beginning of reclaiming your mental power. We become what we think about. This phrase, "we become what we think about," is a cornerstone principle I've shared for decades. Every great teacher, from ancient philosophers to modern motivators, has echoed it. Why? Because it's as reliable as the sunrise. When you hold a mental image of success, you move into success. When you keep focusing on limitations, you keep calling them in. Maybe you're in a tough spot, financially, emotionally, or health-wise. You may say, "Hey, you want me to ignore what's right in front of me?" Not at all. I suggest you understand that you can introduce a new image into your mind, even in the face of dire circumstances. By consistently focusing on that better image, you'll begin to shift your actions, your emotional responses, and your perception of opportunities. Before long, the outer world will start lining up with that new vision. Building a thought practice. Let's get practical. If you wanted to strengthen your body, you'd adopt an exercise routine, maybe a 20-minute walk each day or a regular gym schedule. Your mind is no different. It needs a thought practice. Daily affirmations. Choose one or two statements that reflect your best life. Maybe it's, "I'm so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in increasing quantities," or "I'm a magnet for healthy, positive relationships." Repeat those statements with feeling every morning and night. Visualization. Devote 5 minutes, yes, just 5, to picturing yourself already living your goal. Imagine how you'd feel, what your surroundings look like, who's with you. This mental movie shapes your thought frequency and sets a new course for your day. Positive input. Feed your mind with uplifting books, audio programs, or mentors. Keep negativity, like news marathons or endless complaining, on a strict diet. If you load your mind with negativity, your thoughts will inevitably go there. The unbreakable link to results. Let's be crystal clear. The law of thinking always works. It's not whether it works, but how you direct it. If your results aren't what you want, it's a clarion call to examine the thoughts dominating your mind. Are you forever analyzing your lack of opportunity, lack of funds, lack of talents? Then, no surprise, you're experiencing more lack. Flip it around. What do you want instead? More financial freedom, more fulfilling relationships, a vibrant body? Start thinking about that. Study success stories in the realm you're interested in. Let your mind dwell on solutions and possibilities, not obstacles. Over time, you'll feel your perspective shift, and with it, your outcomes. Consider yourself at the starting line of a grand marathon. The law of thinking is the bedrock of all the other laws we'll explore. Think of it as the foundation upon which you'll build more excellent health, wealth, and happiness. So here's your assignment for Chapter 1. Get conscious about your thought patterns. Jot them down, catch yourself when you're spiraling into negativity, and gently redirect your mind toward the outcomes you want. Don't expect perfection from day one, just consistent awareness and a willingness to pivot your mindset. Trust me, with practice, you'll soon notice little wonders. Maybe a friend calls with an opportunity, or a fresh idea sparks in your mind that solves an ongoing problem. Those coincidences aren't random. They're signs that the law of thinking responds to your newly directed thoughts. Stay tuned, because in Chapter 2, we'll dive into the law of supply. If unlimited abundance gets your heart pumping, you won't want to miss it. Until then, remember, you hold the most excellent tool in existence, your mind. Guide it well, and life's doors begin to open. Chapter 2. The Law of Supply. We explored how your thoughts set the direction of your life, that by consciously guiding the mind, you shape what comes your way. Now we're moving deeper to uncover a second universal law that often blows people's minds once they fully grasp it. That law is the law of supply. A never-ending pie. Most folks are programmed to believe life's resources are limited. Like a pie you have to fight over to get your slice. But the truth is more exciting. The universe operates from infinite abundance. In other words, there's an endless supply of everything you could possibly want. Suppose you're in a crowded room with a couple of hundred people. If they only brought out one small pizza, a handful of folks might get a piece, and the rest would be disappointed. That's the scarcity mindset so many live by. But the law of supply teaches us the universe doesn't serve just one small pizza. It can bake thousands of pizzas on demand, and it can keep on baking without ever running out of flour and cheese. That's a metaphorical way of saying there is no limit to what you can receive unless you decide there is. Observing abundance in nature. If you ever doubt the existence of infinite supply, look at the natural world. Trees produce seeds in quantities so vast, most never even germinate. The ocean continuously evaporates, forms clouds, then pours back as fresh rain. There's a perfect cycle of continuous renewal. And no one sits there telling the seeds or the raindrops, "We're running low, better stop." Nature just flows and replenishes. You, as a person, are part of that nature, and the same abundance applies to every aspect of your life. Shifting out of scarcity. Now, here's the kicker. Even though the supply is unlimited, many folks still experience lack. Why? It's because they don't allow themselves to tap into that abundance. They might say, "I can't make more money. My industry is dying. It's too late to start a new skill or business. Opportunities never come my way." Those statements build invisible walls around them, preventing universal supply from flowing in. Remember, your mind and its beliefs serve as a filter. If you genuinely believe there isn't enough, you'll create that experience. But if you shift your inner dialogue to, "I'm in an abundant universe. There's always more where that came from," you open the floodgates. In short, the gate to your good is in your head. Steps to invite. More. Say you're in a situation where money's tight. The typical reaction is worry or resentment. Why don't I have more? Instead, practice looking at what you do have. Maybe you have a roof over your head, or you've paid off certain bills. As you cultivate gratitude for the good already present, you align with the law of supply. You effectively say, I'm noticing the abundant nature of life, and that noticing expands whatever's working well. Expectation exercises. Next, combine gratitude with positive expectation. You might even create a simple affirmation such as, I am so happy and grateful now that I consistently receive new opportunities and resources. Revisit that statement throughout the day. Imagine the feeling of relief and excitement you'd have if sudden money or assistance showed up. Because with the law of supply, that arrival is completely plausible. Generous giving one surprising piece. If you want to see your supply increase, be ready to give. Whether it's donating to a cause, helping someone in need, or simply offering time and attention to those around you, giving triggers the flow of receiving. Why? Because you're affirming to yourself and to the universe that you trust there's more than enough to go around, and so you keep the circulation of good alive. No need to take from others. We should also note, sometimes people worry that if they get more, others will get less. But that's the scarcity lie creeping in. The law of supply says your thriving does not rob someone else of their thriving. There isn't one pie. There are infinite pies. In fact, your success can inspire more success in those around you. When people witness someone else prospering with integrity, it often lights a spark in their mind that they, too, can rise higher. The big picture. The law of supply is about realizing you live in a friendly universe, abundant beyond measure. It's only our human programming that tells us we should fight over crumbs. Let's unlearn that. Let's decide to step into the big, gorgeous bakery of life, where fresh pies and loaves are made non-stop. Moving forward. Keep an eye on your self-talk about resources. Are you using words like not enough, scarce, or limited? If so, gently shift them. Affirm there's always more, and that you, by virtue of being a co-creator, can call it into your experience. In our next chapter, we'll delve into another crucial law, the law of attraction. You might think, isn't that just the secret? Indeed, it is. But we're going to deepen that understanding and see how it dovetails perfectly with these first two laws. Remember, if your mind is the gatekeeper, from Chapter 1, and the supply is truly endless, Chapter 2, then the next big piece is how you magnetize that supply in a practical, day-to-day fashion. Stay tuned, because it's about to get really exciting. Chapter 3. The Law of Attraction. By now, you've seen how your thinking steers your life, and how the universe overflows with abundance. Today, let's dive into the law of attraction, arguably the most famous law since The Secret took the world by storm. Yet, there's so much more to it than most realize. So, let's shine a bright light on it and see how it aligns with those first two laws. Vibration, the secret behind attraction. You've heard people say, like attracts like, or whatever you focus on expands. But I want to take it a step further and speak about vibration. Everything in the universe, from stars to sand to your very own body, is in constant motion, vibrating at specific frequencies. Your thoughts and emotions determine your personal vibration, and that vibration either pulls or repels events, people, and circumstances in your life. Here's the thing. The law of attraction won't bring you what you simply wish for. It brings you what resonates with your dominant mental frequency. If you repeatedly lament how broke you feel, guess what? You're locked on the broke channel. and you attract more experiences that confirm it. Tuning the mental frequency. Think of your brain as a broadcasting station and a receiving station rolled into one. If you're set to the channel of fear, that's the signal you're broadcasting, and that's also the signal you pick up. But you can spin that dial anytime you choose to match the success, or harmony, or wealth station. This shift isn't magic. It's as natural as changing a channel. Here's how you start tuning. Identify the current signal. Ask yourself, am I habitually broadcasting worry, lack, or frustration, or am I transmitting gratitude and possibility? Awareness is half the battle. Visualize the desired signal. Decide what you want to broadcast. Maybe it's peace of mind, or a new job, or radiant health. Vividly, picture yourself already living it. Dwell in that image. Feel it. This is like adjusting the radio dial to the new channel. Infuse the emotion. Emotion is the fuel. If your new vision doesn't stir you emotionally, the signal stays weak. Let yourself get excited, grateful, or joyful about this idea. That energizes the broadcast, so to speak. Overcoming doubt and resistance. It's common to say, I'm focusing on prosperity, but the bills keep rolling in. How can I not notice that? Sure, you can notice it, but don't fight it. Recall the law of non-resistance. Resisting your worries only magnifies them. Instead, acknowledge the facts, then choose to redirect your mental movie. It also helps to list small successes each day that align with the new vibration. For instance, maybe you got a random discount at the store, or an old friend treated you to lunch. Notice how these little events confirm a positive shift in your energy. The more you celebrate them, the stronger your attraction grows. The role of action. People sometimes misunderstand the law of attraction, thinking, all I have to do is meditate on a dream car, and it'll show up in the driveway. Not quite. You want to dream it, feel it, and then follow nudges and opportunities that appear. Action completes the circuit. When your mind is on the right channel, you become hyper-aware of opportunities and resources you might have missed before. Taking action on those leads you closer to your goal. Receiving versus grabbing. Here's a subtle but crucial point. If you're constantly straining, I must get this, I must force that, you can enter an anxious vibration. Ironically, that anxiety can push away what you want. The law of attraction works best in an atmosphere of relaxed faith and positive expectation. The second you find yourself tense and demanding, step back. Remind yourself that there is an abundant supply, Chapter 2, and that your job is to align, not struggle. I often say, the moment you're white-knuckling your dream, you're strangling it. Instead, hold that dream lightly but confidently, and let the universe orchestrate the how. You'll be surprised how many times solutions appear in unforeseen ways. Transforming your attracting power. So how do you boost your attraction power? In addition to consistent visualization, develop a routine of daily gratitude. Jot down at least 3 things you're grateful for each morning. This simple act raises your vibration, reminding you of existing positives. Clear boundaries. If certain influences, maybe negative acquaintances or toxic media, continually drag you down, create space or limit exposure, you want to guard your mental environment. Goal cards. Write a specific goal, e.g., I am so happy and grateful now that I earn specific amount monthly, by date, in ways that make me feel fulfilled. Carry that card with you, read it frequently, and let it spark positive emotion. Over time, this approach rewires your dominant mental frequency. You literally retrain your brain and emotions to resonate with the life you want, rather than the life you're trying to leave behind. Envisioning the big picture. We're only at Chapter 3, But notice how these laws interconnect. Without right thinking, law of thinking, you won't hold the right vibration. If you believe supply is limited, law of supply, you'll sabotage your attracting power. And if you cling or push too hard, you violate non-resistance and forgiveness principles that we'll explore further. The law of attraction operates smoothly in the context of all these laws working in harmony. Take a moment to consider a new possibility. Everything you need to move forward is already here. It's just on a different vibrational channel than maybe you're used to. Tuning in means adopting a mental stance of expectancy, gratitude, and willingness to act on the hunches that show up. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes, and the more you'll see a constant stream of coincidences and breakthroughs. That, my friend, is the law of attraction at work. Up next, in Chapter 4, we'll unpack the law of receiving, a perfect follow-up since attracting your good is one side of the coin, and accepting it is the other. After all, many people unconsciously block the very blessings they call in. Let's make sure you're fully open and ready to receive. Chapter 4. The Law of Receiving. We've explored how your thinking sets the stage and how an abundant universe responds to your mental signals. We also talked about attracting the good you desire. Now we come to a critical and often overlooked piece of the puzzle: the law of receiving. Truth is, many people want their lives to improve, yet they aren't fully open to letting the good in. So let's dive into this hidden key. Giving creates the space. Most of us grew up with some notion of give and take, but we sometimes miss the deeper principle behind it. The law of receiving teaches that your ability to receive directly correlates with your willingness to give. You see, energy must circulate. When you hoard time, money, or even affection, you essentially build a dam in the flow of good. On the flip side, when you give freely, your attention, service, kindness, you create a vacuum that the universe rushes in to fill. For instance, suppose you feel stuck in your career. A typical reaction might be, "I need a better job before I can help others," or "I'll start donating once I have more savings." But that approach can stall the very good you want. Instead, flip the script. Ask yourself, how can I contribute now? Who can I assist with my skills or resources? In giving, you symbolically say to the universe, "I trust there's plenty more coming. I'm open for more." And so, you allow the law of receiving to operate. Why receiving can feel uncomfortable. Interestingly, a lot of folks find it easier to give than to receive. Some of us grew up hearing lines like, "Don't be selfish," or "It's better to give than to receive." The unintended message is often that receiving is somehow greedy or shameful. Yet, that's a misunderstanding. Think of a handshake. One person extends a hand to give friendship, the other must extend a hand to receive it. If the second person stands stiff with arms behind their back, the offering goes nowhere. Likewise, gifts of money, love, or opportunity sometimes knock on our door. If we're too prideful, too guilty, or too self-conscious to accept, they slip away. The truth is that giving and receiving are two sides of one circle. If you obstruct one side, you block the whole flow. Spotting blocked receiving. Let's see if you're blocking receiving anywhere in your life. Do you deflect compliments? "Oh, this old shirt? It's nothing." Refuse help when you genuinely need it, out of pride or fear of looking weak? Underprice your services or hesitate to charge what you're worth, convinced no one will pay. All these behaviors signal a subtle resistance to receiving. They say, "I'm not worthy," or "I'll do it alone." Meanwhile, the universe might be sending mentors, clients, or resources your way. and you keep shutting the door. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to freeing yourself to receive. The harmony of give and receive. Imagine a heart pumping blood. The blood flows out to nourish the body, and then it flows back for oxygenation. There's a beautiful cycle. The same principle applies in your financial life, your social connections, your spiritual growth. Give from a place of genuine love, and in time, you're going to see that same energy returning to you in multiplied form. To align yourself more deeply, give joyfully. Let's say you tip a server generously. Do you do it grudgingly, or do you do it with a smile? That energy matters. If you begrudge giving, you're negating the act itself. Expect good. After you give, or act kindly, or help someone out, don't chase the outcome with anxiety. The receiving might come through a different channel entirely. Just hold a calm expectation that the good you've set in motion will return, likely in a form better than you imagined. Say yes to good. The moment a compliment or offer comes your way, see if you can respond with, "Thank you, I really appreciate that," instead of brushing it off. This small shift changes your entire receiving frequency. Mastering the inflow. Realize that the law of receiving is not about passively waiting for life to shower you with gifts. It's about active receptivity. That means being ready. Keep your mind attuned to opportunities. If you're seeking a new job, are you open to job postings in unexpected places? If you want new friendships, are you open to random conversations at social gatherings? Keeping the channel clear. Mental clutter, resentment, guilt, or shame acts like emotional plaque that blocks receiving. Using the law of forgiveness, which we'll discuss soon, can help unclog those pipes. Trusting the larger flow. If you hand over some money or extend help, have faith that you haven't lost something. You've circulated it. You'll find it, or an equivalent good, returning. Moving forward with confidence. Now that you're aware of the law of receiving, look for small ways to practice each day. Offer a compliment and truly accept one. Provide a bit of help and let yourself be helped in return. Watch how money comes in as easily as it goes out, provided you direct it with wisdom and trust. Remember, it pairs seamlessly with your knowledge of the law of thinking, the law of supply, and the law of attraction. You imagine something better, trust in unlimited supply, raise your vibration to attract it, and then open your hands and heart to let it pour in. This synergy is where real transformations happen. We'll uncover the law of increase, deeply connected to the spirit of gratitude and praise. Once you lock into a mindset of constant appreciation, everything you receive can expand even further. For now, reflect on places in your life where you might be inadvertently shutting off the flow. Make a conscious decision to let the good in. Give wholeheartedly and graciously receive the abundance that's been hovering around you, just waiting for an invitation. Chapter 5. The Law of Increase. So far, we've talked about thinking, supply, attraction, and receiving. Each of these laws illuminates a different aspect of how you co-create your life. Today, we focus on the law of increase, a principle that shows us how to multiply our good by shifting from routine gratitude into active praise. What increase really means. When we say increase, many jump straight to the thought of more money. I want a bigger paycheck, or I want a nicer home. And yes, the law of increase can manifest in your bank account, but it also touches the intangible parts of life. Deeper friendships, heightened creativity, more robust health. Think of increase as a flourishing or amplification of all that is good and beautiful in your world. The power of praise. Here's the beating heart of this law. Praise. Most of us know gratitude is essential, counting blessings, acknowledging the positives. Praise, however, takes it a step further. Gratitude can be quiet and reflective, while praise is more active, almost celebratory. It's as though you're looking at something or someone and you're saying, "Yes, more of this, please." Praising others. Instead of fixating on their flaws, notice their strong points and openly commend them. You might be surprised. The more you praise, the more those positive traits bloom. Praising circumstances. Even if your situation feels imperfect, find any aspect that deserves compliments. Maybe it's the chance to learn, or the supportive coworker, or the warm roof over your head. Praising what you have sets in motion an energy that invites more of the good stuff in. Why it works. Amplifying the signal. The law of increase ties closely to the laws we've already covered. Here's how. Law of thinking. The way you think about your circumstances determines whether they stagnate or expand. By praising, you direct your mental focus on the best, magnifying that aspect in your thought world. Law of attraction. Remember that you attract what you consistently resonate with. When you're in a state of praise, you vibrate at a higher, more uplifting frequency. That frequency naturally draws in matching experiences and people. Law of receiving. Praise essentially opens you up to receiving more. Instead of complaining about what's missing, you're making room for the good that is present, and thereby clearing a path for the good that's on its way. Think of your mind as a phone. Praise connects you into the network that plays the music of abundance. And guess what? Suddenly, you start hearing all the right tunes. Replacing criticism with praise. Let's be honest, we live in a world where criticism is standard operating procedure, whether it's in the workplace, in politics, or on social media. But if you want the law of increase to work for you, you must choose to be a praiser rather than a critic. Stop fighting cold. As we've mentioned before, you can't rid yourself of cold by focusing on it. You create heat. In the same vein, don't aim to combat negativity. Generate positivity through sincere praise, and negativity recedes on its own. Use non-resistance. When someone or something irritates you, resisting or condemning it only amplifies the friction. Instead, pivot to praising some aspect. If that feels impossible, pivot to praising something else in your life. The point is to shift out of the lower vibe that keeps you stuck. Methods to practice. Praise. Praise journal. Before bed or first thing in the morning, jot down at least 3 items, events, or people you genuinely want to praise. Don't just name them. Elaborate on why they deserve praise. This sets a powerful mental tone for your day or night. Praise breaks. Throughout the day, pause, maybe every 2 hours, and spend 15 seconds thanking or applauding aspects of your surroundings. It might be your comfortable chair, the sunshine outside, or a coworker's helpfulness. Notice the instant lift in mood. Praise in conversation. Whether you're talking to a friend, colleague, or family member, consciously weave in words of appreciation for them. If you see improvement or effort on their part, point it out. This not only boosts them, but trains your mind to see the good. Where to aim your praise. Your health, instead of fixating on symptoms or imperfections, praise your body for its resilience and strength. Even if you're battling a health challenge, there's some function in your body that's working well. Praise it. Your money. Don't curse your bills. Praise every dollar that comes in or out. View money as energy in circulation. Bless your spending as well as your earning. It's part of the universal flow. your goals. Each step, each small win on the way to a bigger dream, give it a shout-out. This practice moves your mind from "still so far to go" to "look how far I've come." Building the increase mindset. As you turn your attention to praising the blessings in your life, you cultivate an increase mindset. This mindset naturally looks for the kernel of goodness in every situation, gently expanding that goodness. Over time, it becomes a habit. You automatically see things to appreciate. And that is where the law becomes a daily joy, not just a technique. Remember, you're not trying to fake positivity. You're recognizing there's always something in each moment deserving of a spotlight. By focusing on that, you help it grow, fulfilling nature's inherent push toward expansion. The law of increase doesn't ask you to ignore reality or pretend life is perfect. It asks you to deliberately place your focus on what's working, what's uplifting, and what's possible. In so doing, you magnify those elements until your entire experience is suffused with greater prosperity, wellness, and harmony. In Chapter 6, where we'll explore another facet that keeps your flow of good going strong, the law of compensation. It's closely related to your work, your earning capacity, and the results you get day in and day out. You won't want to miss how it ties together with everything we've discussed so far. Chapter 6. The Law of Compensation. We've explored how your thoughts shape your reality, how abundance is limitless, how you attract in harmony with your vibration, how receiving is an active art, and how praising the good in your life leads to more good. Now we come to a law that directly impacts your day-to-day results, especially in your work and finances. The law of compensation. Tying it all together. First, let's clarify what compensation is about. Most people immediately think money, but compensation includes all forms of reward, recognition, influence, business growth, and yes, financial prosperity. And like the other laws, this one dovetails perfectly with everything we've discussed. Law of thinking. The kind of thoughts you entertain about your abilities and your worth determine your compensation. Law of supply. There's an unending reservoir of opportunities to be compensated. Law of attraction. You attract circumstances that match your self-image regarding work and earnings. Law of receiving. To receive greater compensation, you must remain open and willing to accept it. Law of increase. Consistently praising and appreciating what you have can lead to more compensation in new and surprising forms. The 3 conditions for greater compensation. There's a classic statement about the law of compensation I've shared for years. The need for what you do. Your ability to do it. The difficulty there is in replacing you. Let's examine these carefully. The need for what you do. Every single job, skill, or service exists because it meets a need. Even if you think your talent is niche or obscure, believe me, there's a segment of people who need exactly that. If you're a baker, people need fresh bread. If you're a digital marketer, companies need brand visibility. If you're a teacher, the world needs better educated minds. You don't have to create the need. It's already there. Your job is to identify and acknowledge that need and then lean into it wholeheartedly. Your ability to do it. How well can you fill that need? If you want to raise your compensation, whether that's salary, clientele, or respect in your field, then dedicate yourself to mastering your craft. The best way to stand out is to become the most skillful, most creative, or most reliable in your corner of the universe. No matter how naturally gifted you are, consistent study, mentorship, and practice refine your ability. Raise your ability, and you raise the level of compensation the marketplace or your organization will pay you in return. The difficulty there is in replacing you. This last condition is huge. If what you do can be quickly replicated by anyone else, compensation tends to remain modest. But when you develop a uniqueness, maybe it's an inventive style, a special method, or an incomparable personal touch, you become irreplaceable. Becoming difficult to replace isn't about being arrogant. It's about cultivating your personal edge. As you do, the value of your work rises because people see that you're not just someone who can do a job. You're the person they trust to deliver results that others can't match. Overcoming the common roadblock. Number 1. My industry is too crowded. There might be 100,000 people doing what you do. So what? Bring your unique flavor, your special approach, and watch how you magnetize the exact clients, audience, or employers that resonate with that uniqueness. Roadblock number 2. I'm not good enough. If you genuinely believe your skill is lacking, the law of thinking steps in. Rather than bemoan your inadequacy, commit to improvement. Classes, coaching, apprenticeships. These exist to sharpen your edge. As you climb the ladder of expertise, your compensation climbs too. Roadblock number 3. I've already hit a plateau. Even if you're successful, you might think you've maxed out. This law says otherwise. There's always a higher level of excellence, a bigger problem to solve, a more refined way to deliver. The law of compensation ensures that if you keep evolving, the rewards keep flowing. The law of compensation in action. Imagine 2 graphic designers. Both know the basics: layout, color theory, some digital tools. But one invests extra time daily to learn cutting-edge techniques, another language, to serve international clients, and takes a genuine interest in each client's goals. The other sticks to old methods, rarely innovates. Over time, guess who stands out and likely earns more? The first, of course. She's tapped the principle. There's a need for design. She's improving her ability to do it, and her custom approach becomes hard to replace. Stop looking to your employer or anyone else for pay. Here's a subtle but crucial shift. Your employer or your clients are not the source of your compensation. They're merely a channel. The true source, as we learned under the law of supply, is infinite. If you feel limited by your current channel, maybe your company has a rigid pay scale, realize that other channels will open if you keep expanding your skills and your service. The universe finds a way to reward those who deliver real value. I've seen countless people realize this and watch as promotions come from left field or entirely new business ideas appear, because they no longer tie their self-worth or potential compensation to one tiny channel. Aligning compensation with purpose. Some worry that focusing on compensation makes them selfish. Not so. If you're delivering high-quality service or value and you're receiving proportionate compensation, that's balance. When you're well compensated, you can also give more, whether in charitable contributions, time to causes you care about, or even just being more present for loved ones because your financial stress is eased. Aligning what you do with the genuine desire to help or uplift others amplifies how quickly the law of compensation works for you. People can sense when someone's heart is in it, and they reward that. Practical action steps. Assess the need. Who benefits from what you do? Do you fully understand their problems or desires? The clearer you get on that, the more precisely you can tailor your service or skill. Raise your ability. Pick one area to upgrade, be it a new technique, an advanced certification, or even soft skills like communication and leadership. Make it a daily habit. Cultivate uniqueness. Look at your field and ask, where do I see a gap in how people are served? How can I bring a fresh approach? This is how you become difficult to replace. Track your worth. Keep a simple record of the value you provide. Testimonials, milestones, or personal achievements. When self-doubt creeps in, refer to this record as proof of your growth. Expect an increase. As you apply these steps, affirm to yourself that your compensation is rising. The expectancy helps you notice opportunities that align with that new compensation level. We live in a universe where energy moves from a higher potential to a lower potential, always seeking balance and expansion. The more you refine what you do and deliver it with sincerity and excellence, the more the universe balances the scales through increased compensation. It's not an accident or a stroke of luck. It's the law. In Chapter 7, we'll tackle the law of non-resistance, a principle that helps you handle challenges without getting stuck in conflict or negativity. It works hand in hand with compensation. If you're constantly resisting and battling everything, you limit the very flow that could improve your success. So stay tuned, because that law is a game changer in keeping your mind and energy free to advance. For now, reflect on the 3 pillars: need, ability, and irreplaceability, and see where you can apply them immediately. A little shift in any one of them can yield big strides in your earnings, your influence, and the sense of fulfillment you carry each day. Chapter 7. The Law of Non-Resistance. After exploring how you can grow and be compensated for your value, it's natural to think, "Great, now I'll go full speed ahead." But along that path, you're guaranteed to bump into obstacles and pushback. Here's where the law of non-resistance comes in. Mastering this law ensures you flow around difficulties rather than spending all your energy in a head-on fight. Understanding resistance. We live in a universe where growth often meets resistance. Take an acorn trying to sprout. It has to push through soil. The soil's pressure can feel like an obstacle. However, the acorn doesn't rage against the dirt. It steadily, gently expands until it breaks through. That's the essence of non-resistance. Moving forward, in harmony with natural forces, without drama or angst. Humans, by contrast, often respond to resistance with frustration or even aggression, trying to bulldoze a problem out of the way. Ironically, that stance can amplify the problem. If you keep pushing against a locked door, the door won't budge, but you'll get sore shoulders. Meanwhile, a non-resistant approach might spot an open window around the corner. So, think of non-resistance as mental and emotional flexibility, a willingness to adapt and find solutions without destructive force. Why fighting back can backfire. There's a well-known phrase, "Whatever you resist persists." It happens in relationships, jobs, and personal ambitions. If you make a huge fuss about avoiding something, say, a fear or a small annoyance, you inadvertently feed it mental energy. The problem grows bigger in your mind, and soon it dominates your thoughts. A close friend of mine was extremely anxious about public speaking. He fought this anxiety tooth and nail, telling himself, "I mustn't feel nervous. Why is this happening to me?" That internal battle only increased his tension. Once he switched to a non-resistant mindset, acknowledging the butterflies yet not condemning them, his anxiety lessened, and he delivered solid presentations. Aikido versus karate, a metaphor for non-resistance. Picture 2 martial artists. Karate, a straightforward, force meets force approach. Someone strikes you, you strike back harder. This certainly can work, but it demands immense energy, and sometimes leaves you more battered than the opponent. Aikido. The practitioner redirects the attacker's force, blending with it and guiding it away, often with minimal strain. The attacker's energy is used against itself, and the Aikido master remains relatively calm and uninjured. Living under the law of non-resistance is akin to practicing mental and emotional aikido. Rather than waste effort clashing head-on with every obstacle, you redirect energy, remain calm, and look for the open path. This isn't about passivity or letting others walk all over you. It's about using higher intelligence instead of brute force. The hidden link to attraction and increase. You might wonder, what does non-resistance have to do with attracting what I want? Actually, everything. When you lock into anger or stubborn defiance, you stall your energy flow. You're stuck in a spiral of negativity, which muddies your vibration. Meanwhile, the law of attraction needs a clear, high-frequency signal to bring in good. Similarly, the law of increase, praise and gratitude, can't operate in a mind full of resentment. If you want to keep receiving and growing, you must learn to respond rather than react. The next time a challenge hits, maybe a client cancels a contract or a personal plan fails, resist the urge to react with outrage or self-pity. Instead, say, "Interesting. How can I adapt? What's the blessing or lesson here?" That mental pivot is non-resistance in action. Strategies to practice. Non-resistance, pause and breathe. In moments of friction, train yourself to pause. Literally, take a slow breath, or a few. The act of pausing breaks the automatic fight-flight-freeze cycle. It gives you a moment to choose a more constructive response. Reframe the situation. Ask yourself, if this obstacle is actually a stepping stone, how could it help me grow? By reframing each challenge as a puzzle or opportunity, you neutralize its intimidating power. Release emotional charge. Write down your frustrations on paper, then calmly read over them. This helps dissipate emotional overload. You can also try short meditations, visualizing the tension floating away like clouds. The point is to avoid letting anger or resentment build into a destructive force. Act with calm assertiveness. Non-resistance doesn't mean you never stand up for yourself, or that you accept wrongdoing passively. Rather, you address problems with a clear, calm approach. No shouting matches, no bitter grudges. You handle the issue, or remove yourself from it, sans mental chaos. Real-world example, releasing a grudge. I once spoke with a business owner who'd been at war with a former partner. Each believed the other had caused the partnership's downfall. He expended huge mental energy on legal battles, negative talk, and plotting revenge. The stress was literal, harming his health and draining the company's resources. After some coaching on non-resistance, he chose to shift. He decided he'd stop fighting the old partner and focus on building the new venture with clarity. He let go of the anger, settled amicably, and put his creativity into the future. Almost immediately, new customers started showing up, and his health improved. By ceasing the battle, he reclaimed his energy and allowed success to flow again. The law of non-resistance as a lifestyle. Over time, practicing non-resistance rewires how you approach daily life. Minor frustrations roll off your back. Big challenges become manageable projects instead of insurmountable crises. Relationships improve because you're not constantly reacting. People sense your calmer vibe and want to collaborate with you. Crucially, non-resistance doesn't mean doing nothing. It means channeling your will and intellect effectively. You stay outcome-focused, solving problems, pursuing goals, yet you don't get bogged down in negativity or futile struggles. This is how you maintain momentum toward your visions without burning out. Connecting non-resistance to success. Think back to earlier chapters. You're aiming to express more of your innate potential, tap the endless supply, attract great opportunities, receive wholeheartedly, and praise the good in your life. If you're constantly resisting, you're like a sailor trying to row upstream through rapids. Sure, you might move, but you'll exhaust yourself. With non-resistance, you align with the current, adjusting your sails to catch the wind in your favor. Remember, whatever you fight, you strengthen, and what you resist persists. So let's release that fight, cultivate peace in the mind, and watch how doors open and problems transform into stepping stones. In Chapter 8, we'll delve into the law of forgiveness, another powerful force that liberates you from inner burdens, like guilt, blame, and resentment, that block the very blessings you're trying to create. Non-resistance and forgiveness often go hand in hand, ensuring you stay free from emotional and mental blockages. For now, reflect on where you might be pushing too hard or battling uselessly. Try a little mental aikido, guiding tension away rather than meeting it, blow for blow. That gentle yet focused approach can change everything: your health, your success, and even your sense of daily calm. Chapter 8. The Law of Forgiveness. We've journeyed through how to think abundantly, attract good, receive it, expand it, get fairly compensated, and handle resistance gracefully. Now we turn to a key that can unlock more freedom and peace than almost any other principle: the law of forgiveness. This isn't about letting anyone off the hook for wrongs done. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment and guilt so you can fully step into the life you're meant to live. Why forgiveness matters. Forgiveness can seem like a purely moral or religious idea, but from a law standpoint, it's about energy. When you harbor resentment toward others or yourself, it's as though you clamp a heavy weight to your vibration. You end up dragging negative emotional baggage into every scenario. Resentment holds you stuck in the past, reliving old wounds. Guilt, a self-inflicted wound that says you're unworthy of grace or good fortune. In either case, the energy that could be fueling your growth, creativity, and attraction of new possibilities is locked up in those dense feelings. The law of forgiveness is a release valve, freeing you from the past so you can meet the present unburdened. Forgiveness isn't about approving harm. Some folks balk at forgiveness because they think it's saying, "What happened is okay." Not at all. If someone treated you unkindly or unfairly, you're not condoning their actions. You're simply refusing to let their negativity dominate your life any longer. This law states, let go of completely. Abandon. By mentally and emotionally letting go, you sever the energetic link that drains your power. It's like cutting a cord that's been siphoning your peace. How guilt and resentment block your good. We've talked in earlier chapters about the law of receiving and the law of attraction. But imagine trying to welcome fresh good into a mind cluttered with anger or self-blame. Those emotions take up mental space, leaving little room for creative ideas or feelings of deserving. Resentment. Repeatedly focusing on another's wrongdoing is like planting the same toxic seed over and over. It'll keep sprouting bitterness in your life. Guilt. Tells your subconscious mind, I'm not worthy of better outcomes. So your vibration actually repels blessings. As you can see, forging ahead while dragging guilt and grudges behind you is like trying to run a marathon in heavy boots. Steps to practice forgiveness. Acknowledge the hurt. Don't sweep your feelings under the rug. Recognize why you feel wronged or guilty. Write it down. Vent it out privately. This step transforms swirling emotions into a tangible account you can work with. See the other, or yourself, with compassion. Everyone is operating from their level of awareness. Perhaps they were ignorant or living in fear. You might see you, too, were acting from confusion or pain. This doesn't excuse the action, but it opens a door to understanding. Decide to release out loud, or in writing, affirm, I release this situation and everyone involved. I am free, and they are free. This can feel awkward at first, but that decision is like cutting the energetic cord. Replace with a higher thought. Immediately afterward, plant a positive idea in your mind, something like, I'm growing from this, or I choose peace now. This helps ensure you don't drift back into the negative loop. Forgiving yourself. Often, the hardest person to forgive is ourselves. Maybe you regret a choice you made, or feel shame for not living up to your own expectations. But the law is the same. Holding on to guilt traps your energy in the past. Observe your self-talk. Is it peppered with statements like, I always mess up, or I'm never good enough? Those are forms of self-condemnation. They choke your self-confidence and hamper your ability to move boldly into new opportunities. Make a habit of self-compassion. Try something like, I did the best I could with the knowledge I had. I forgive myself. I choose a better path now. Aligning forgiveness with other laws' law of supply. There's an infinite reservoir of good awaiting you. But if you're emotionally blocked by grudges or guilt, you can't tap into it fully. Law of attraction. If you keep replaying old hurts, you stay tuned to the grievance channel, attracting more reasons to feel aggrieved. Forgiveness lets you retune to expansion and healing. Law of receiving. By letting go of negative energy, you open more mental space to receive fresh good. It's like clearing clutter from a room so new furniture can come in. Moving forward with a free heart forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's often a process. You might release something today, only to have an old feeling resurface next week. That's okay. Each time it comes up, reaffirm your choice to let it go. Over time, the emotional charge fades, and you'll notice a wonderful sense of lightness and possibility. As you master the law of forgiveness, you'll experience an internal spring cleaning that directly impacts your external world. Relationships improve, opportunities flow in, and best of all, you live with a calmer spirit. In a sense, forgiveness is one of the purest gifts you can give yourself, and it's absolutely vital if you want to keep stepping into higher levels of success and fulfillment. In Chapter 9, we'll explore the law of sacrifice, which reveals why letting go of something of a lower nature is crucial to gaining something of a higher nature. It fits beautifully with forgiveness, because once you release old baggage, you make room for higher aspirations and better results. Don't miss it. For now, ask yourself, is there a person, situation, or even a regret within me that I'm ready to forgive? Start with something manageable. You'll feel the shift as soon as you decide. Chapter 9. The Law of Sacrifice. We've just seen how forgiveness sets you free from old resentments and guilt, clearing the way for fresh opportunities. Now we dig into a related law that people often misunderstand: the law of sacrifice. Don't worry. This isn't about giving up everything dear to you. It's about trading something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature, and doing so with clear intention. The true meaning of sacrifice. Most of us grew up equating sacrifice with loss, imagining we must forfeit our happiness or possessions to be worthy. But in the context of universal law, sacrifice means letting go of what's holding you back to gain something better. It could be an outdated habit, an unhelpful belief, or even a comfortable but limiting routine. Consider an athlete who wants to reach Olympic level. They sacrifice casual leisure time in favor of disciplined training. Or An entrepreneur might sacrifice Netflix binges to focus on building a new venture. In each case, the goal is elevating yourself to a higher plane of success or fulfillment. The vacuum law in disguise. You may recall the idea of the vacuum law of prosperity. Nature abhors a vacuum, so when you consciously create space, by discarding what no longer serves you, the universe rushes in to fill that void with something new. Sacrifice is essentially the same principle. By releasing the lesser, you open a channel for the greater. Let go of lower patterns. Could be habitual complaining, negative self-talk, or living on autopilot. Once you remove them, you make room for confidence, vision, and purposeful action. Let go of lower goals. Sometimes we cling to old ambitions that no longer spark joy, simply because they're familiar. But by sacrificing a stale dream, you clear the runway for a goal that truly resonates with your current growth stage. Faith and focus, keys to effective sacrifice. To execute the law of sacrifice, you need two things: faith that you're not losing out, but upgrading your life. This faith is best built on understanding that nature, by law, always replaces what is released. You're trading up clarity of focus on the new, higher-level outcome you want. For instance, if you sacrifice binge-watching TV, be clear on the more valuable activity you'll replace it with, like writing that novel, studying a new language, or building a side business. Without faith, you'll feel uneasy letting go. Without clarity, you risk sliding back to the old pattern. So, keep both in mind. Know you're making space for a greater good, and stay laser-focused on what that greater good looks like. The subtle cost of ambition. Recall that in earlier chapters, you learned to dream bigger, increase your ability, and become irreplaceable. Well, the law of sacrifice is often the hidden step. If you want to climb from earning tens of thousands to millions, or from local recognition to global renown, you may have to let go of comfort zones, like limited thinking or casual effort. Ask yourself, what's one lower-level habit or mindset standing between me and my next milestone? That's likely what you need to sacrifice. Beware of unconscious sacrifices. An important caution: we're always sacrificing something. If we cling to unproductive habits, we're actually sacrificing our future potential, sacrificing health or prosperity in return for short-term ease. The question isn't whether you'll sacrifice, it's what you'll sacrifice. Will it be your big dream or the time wasters? Will it be your higher nature or your lower nature? When put in those terms, choosing to release the lower nature becomes far more appealing. It's not about denying yourself, it's about investing in a richer, more expansive life. A structured approach to sacrifice. Try these practical steps. Identify the gap. Pinpoint a major goal. Ask, if I achieved it tomorrow, what habit or mindset would I need to drop today? That gap reveals your potential sacrifice. Visualize life after letting go. Close your eyes and see yourself thriving because you gave up that lesser habit or belief. Feel the relief, excitement, or pride. This primes your subconscious to accept the new pattern. Replace, don't just remove. Don't just stop a habit. Replace it with something constructive. If you cut an hour of social media scrolling, fill that hour with reading, skill building, or meaningful connection. Set a trial period. If sacrifice feels overwhelming, commit for a finite period, say 30 days, and observe results. Often, the positive changes become so evident you won't want to revert. How it ties to the other laws, law of thinking. Sacrifice means mentally letting go of lesser ideas for grander visions. Law of attraction. Once you raise your standards by releasing old baggage, you attract higher frequency circumstances. Law of increase. By sacrificing negative habits, you make room for praise and gratitude, which multiplies your good. Law of receiving. Sacrifice is about clearing space so you can receive bigger blessings. Law of forgiveness. Often, what you let go of includes old grudges against yourself or others. This synergy propels you to a higher plane of creativity and fulfillment. The joy in sacrifice. This might sound paradoxical, joy in sacrifice. But once you grasp the real purpose behind it, joy is precisely what emerges. You realize you're actively stepping into a better version of yourself. You're not losing anything important. You're discarding the clutter or dead weight that holds back your true magnificence. Remember, the law isn't punish yourself. It's trade up. Every great achievement you admire in others, whether it's business success, artistic brilliance, or personal freedom, had behind it a law of sacrifice in action. They let go of mediocrity to embody excellence. Chapter 10 takes us further along, discussing the law of obedience, which might raise eyebrows. Nobody likes the word obedience, right? But as you'll see, when you align with these universal laws, you gain true freedom, not constraint. So stay tuned and let's keep growing. For now, identify one or two lower things you're ready to relinquish. It might be an unhelpful pattern or fear-based routine. Make the decision to sacrifice it, even if in small steps. You'll be amazed how swiftly new space appears for the higher good to manifest. Chapter 10. The Law of Obedience. Now that you've learned about letting go of lower habits to gain higher blessings, you may be thinking, wait, so I need to follow certain rules? Well, yes and no. This isn't about subjugating yourself to arbitrary demands. It's about aligning with the principles that run the entire universe. That alignment is what we call the law of obedience. Obedience to what? When you hear obedience, your mind may flash to childhood, following rigid instructions or facing consequences. But in the universal sense, obedience means living in harmony with the cosmic laws, the ones that govern energy, growth, attraction, and success. If you want your life to thrive, you obey those laws in the same way a skilled sailor obeys wind and tide to navigate safely and swiftly. Not human commands. We're not talking about blindly doing whatever another person says. Universal order. We are talking about acknowledging there's an orderly method by which creation unfolds, and you prosper by flowing with it, rather than against it. The natural consequence of disobedience. Imagine ignoring the law of gravity and stepping off a high ledge. The result? You fall every time. Similarly, if you disregard the law of attraction, consistently thinking negative or defeatist thoughts, the results you attract will match that negativity. Or, if you violate the law of compensation, believing you can get something for nothing, you'll soon find yourself stuck. Sin, in this context, can be understood as missing the mark, or violating law. It's not about moral condemnation, it's about outcomes. When you operate contrary to these laws, the outcome is always struggle, confusion, or stagnation. Obedience as the path to freedom. Here's the paradox. True freedom isn't random anarchy. It's the ability to create, express, and prosper without self-imposed hindrances. By being obedient to universal principles like integrity, gratitude, giving, and forgiveness, you unchain yourself from the emotional and mental traps that sabotage most people. Health example. Eating in alignment with the body's needs and natural rhythms is obeying a physical law. The reward is a vital, energetic body. Wealth example. Providing genuine value, honing your skills, and expecting abundance is obeying the law of exchange. The result is financial growth, that doesn't need you to cut moral corners. Cultivating an obedient mindset, study the principles. Don't just skim. Absorb the laws we've covered. Thinking, supply, attraction, receiving, increase, compensation, non-resistance, forgiveness, sacrifice, and now obedience. Reflect daily on how they apply to your life. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse for poor results. Stay attuned to your inner guidance. We all have an intuitive compass nudging us toward harmonious action and away from self-destructive choices. Obedience means acknowledging that nudge rather than brushing it off. Practice. Consistency. Obedience isn't a one-time decision. It's a continuous practice, like staying balanced on a bicycle. Small course corrections keep you from tipping over. The lesson of nature. Nature provides the best illustration of obedience. She wastes no energy on conflict for the sake of conflict. Seasons flow seamlessly. Winter yields to spring, spring to summer, and so on. A seed in the soil obeys the law of growth. With proper sunlight and water, it expands without hesitation or second-guessing. Animals operate on instinct, harmonizing with ecosystems. We humans, however, have choice. Our advanced intellect can make us try to cheat the system, cut corners, or ignore inner wisdom. That's how we get dis-ease and chaos. But once we notice that ignoring the law leads to setbacks, we can consciously choose to obey and reap the benefits. It's a dance between intellect and universal design. Applying obedience in day-to-day life. Work ethic. Are you aligning with the law of compensation, giving true value? If you half-heartedly work and expect big returns, that's disobedience. Relationships. Are you respecting boundaries? Practicing kindness and understanding? Law of non-resistance? If you constantly clash or hold grudges, that's disobedience and friction results. Personal growth. Are you embracing or resisting lessons that come your way? Each challenge can teach you something. Obey the principle of growth, and you rise above. Reframing discipline. To live in obedience to laws, you cultivate discipline. But think of discipline not as punishment or drudgery, rather as a steady commitment to do what supports your highest good. It's consciously chosen, ardently desired, and patiently persisted in, as we said about sacrifice. You become the master of your craft, your mind, and your environment. The discipline of that path frees you from chaos and haphazard living. Are you trying to get without giving? Check your actions. If you're trying to hustle quick gains without offering real service or growth, that's disobedience to the law of compensation and supply. Or if you're blasting negative, anxious thoughts all day, hoping for a miracle result, that's disobedience to the law of thinking and attraction. By identifying these subtle missteps and choosing to realign, you eliminate struggle. Harnessing lawful power. We often marvel at inventors, artists, or entrepreneurs who reach astounding heights. They might say they bent reality or beat the odds. In truth, they likely learned and complied with universal laws more effectively. This compliance gave them access to a power that seems magical from the outside, but is completely natural when you grasp the laws. Remember, the law works every time, for everyone, in every place. The only variable is your level of understanding and application. For now, think of one law you feel you often disobey. Maybe it's the law of forgiveness or the law of receiving. What one step can you take today to be more aligned with it? This simple reflection can set in motion a wave of positive change, because once you start living these laws instead of ignoring them, you'll be amazed at how quickly your life reorganizes around better outcomes. Chapter 11. The Law of Success. We've journeyed through the universal principles that shape your mindset, your opportunities, and your growth. The way you think, attract, receive, and give. How you forgive, release resistance, sacrifice, and remain obedient to law. Now, here we stand at the grand finale, which is often spoken of in hushed tones but misunderstood, the law of success. It's not just about career achievements or financial abundance. It's about flourishing in every facet of your life in harmony with the laws we've explored. What is success? Really? Many people define success in terms of money, fame, or accolades. But from a universal law standpoint, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. In other words, you identify a goal or vision that deeply resonates with your spirit. You steadily, joyfully, and creatively move toward it. You experience growth and fulfillment along the way. Success, by this definition, is not a static destination, but a dynamic, ongoing process of expansion. It's about discovering more of who you really are and expressing that in the world. The pillars of success. Let's tie everything together. You'll see that each law we've studied supports the law of success in a seamless way. Law of thinking. You become what you think about. A mind saturated with powerful, uplifting thoughts invites proportionate circumstances. Law of supply. Infinite resources are yours to tap into, once you truly believe in their existence and your right to access them. Law of attraction. Like vibration attracts like vibration. Your success depends on sustaining a frequency aligned with your aspirations. Law of receiving. Openness is crucial. Once you learn to accept the good with gratitude and release limiting beliefs, success flows. Law of increase. By praising and appreciating what you already have, you multiply it. Be that recognition, income, or relationships. Law of compensation. The need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty in replacing you determine much of your worldly rewards. Law of non-resistance. Instead of fighting obstacles, you flow around them, preserving energy and creativity. Law of forgiveness. Dropping resentment and guilt frees up mental and emotional real estate for higher, success-oriented endeavors. Law of sacrifice. Letting go of lower habits or distractions to reach a higher plane of achievement. Law of obedience. Aligning with these universal principles ensures you work with the cosmic flow, not against it. Put simply, the law of success depends on your consistent application of all these laws in daily life. Embracing the Creator within each of us is a co-creator. You are here to do God's work, meaning you're meant to be creative. To succeed is to channel universal energy into constructive endeavors. You're not meant to sit on the sidelines, feeling limited or unworthy. Recognizing yourself as a creative force in this grand design is half the battle. As a co-creator, you're never truly alone. You've got universal intelligence backing you up. Your thoughts, when linked to emotion and guided by these laws, become your most potent tools for shaping reality. That is success on a profound level. Realizing you're part of a bigger, purposeful unfoldment. Common success blockers. Even with all this knowledge, a few stumbling blocks can arise. Fear of failure. If you obsess over the possibility of falling short, you energize that outcome. Turn your attention to the lessons or growth any challenge provides. Impatience. Demanding instant results can undermine the gestation period each goal requires. Trust in timing, stay consistent, and allow success to ripen. Comparisons. Constantly measuring yourself against others can breed envy or discouragement. Remember, every person's path is unique. As long as you are evolving, you're succeeding. Practical formula for success. Try this simple daily approach. Clarify your vision. Early each morning or late at night, Picture where you want to be. Feel its reality. Write it down in clear terms. This sets your mental compass. Take inspired action move toward your vision without forcing or struggle. Align your actions with joy and intention. Even small steps, taken consistently, snowball into big results. Maintain high vibrational attitude. Keep gratitude, praise, and open-mindedness at the forefront. When you sense resistance, apply non-resistance. If resentment flares, apply forgiveness. If fear arises, recall the law of thinking and shift to more constructive thoughts. Monitor your alignment. Check in daily. Am I living these laws or going back to old habits? If you slip, realign. It's a continuous growth process, not a one-time fix. Celebrate progress. Each breakthrough, no matter how small, deserves acknowledgement. That's how you reinforce a success mindset, which in turn fuels more success. The bigger picture. Success as service. When you succeed, you're also in a position to serve more. This might mean sharing resources, mentoring others, or simply radiating positivity that influences your circle. Note that your success isn't separate from the good of others. It contributes to it. The law of compensation even suggests that the more value you contribute, the more you grow in return. So, an important note. Real success isn't selfish. It uplifts everyone touched by your life. Think of any true leader or innovator you admire. Aren't they simultaneously helping society in some manner? That's the cosmic design at work. A final word of encouragement. No matter where you are right now, whether you're just beginning to apply these concepts or you're refining a long-standing practice, your success journey is valid. Every day is a fresh chance to express more of your potential. Keep studying, keep experimenting, and keep believing in your unlimited capacities. Remember, the universe wants you to succeed because each person's expansion contributes to the collective good. When you're thriving, you're in harmony with life's forward momentum. By uniting all these laws, thinking, supply, attraction, receiving, increase, compensation, non-resistance, forgiveness, sacrifice, and obedience, the law of success becomes not just an idea, but a natural outcome of who you are being. A final exercise. Write down or reaffirm a worthy ideal you're moving toward. List 3 laws you feel especially drawn to integrate more deeply. Decide a simple action step to embody each law in the coming week. By doing this, you anchor all the knowledge into a tangible plan. And that, my friend, is how you honor the law of success. Through steady application, unwavering faith, and joyful participation in the great dance of creation. Conclusion. You've now explored a profound system of thinking and living, gleaned from timeless principles. Embrace these laws in your own life. Study them, revisit them, and watch as the puzzle pieces fit together for a life of genuine happiness, abundance, and service. This isn't just theory. It's a roadmap for continuous expansion. May you walk forward confidently, knowing that your success is assured when you work with the laws instead of against them. Go forth, create something magnificent, and remember that each step forward is a victory in itself. If you have enjoyed this audiobook, consider watching the next video